Your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. Voter turnout for the general election expected to have been projected to have been as low as 58%. Tempers flare during recounts across some constituencies. And the Killarney candidates react to the results and a whole lot more. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up. It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, May 14th, 2026. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be joining us. Also this morning, we're talking with the newly elected president of the Bahamas Christian Council, Pastor Mario Mox, is going to be with us as we talk about what he's hoping to accomplish during his term as president and the role of the Christian Council in the country. Later in business, it's our monthly series with Small Business Development Center. We're talking, getting the latest on their Empower project and on their road to 100 million. That's all ahead, but first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, tempers flared during a tense recount of the Pinewood election ballots at Mount Tabor Church yesterday, where candidates and party agents clashed over disputed ballots. Coalition of Independence leader Lincoln Bain said the party is preparing to go to election court. A tight race in Pinewood Gardens resulted in the victory of MP-elect Miles LaRota, but yesterday party members gathered at the church where an altercation involved representatives of the FNM, the PLP, and the COI, with Bain claiming that a PLP representative became aggressive towards him and an FNM representative. Bain said that it's normally a peaceful process, but they normally don't have any issues, but they're going to continue the process and that they have seen enough to convince them to go to the election court. Despite LaRota's win, Bain broke barriers as the first third-party candidate in modern history to compete on an even footing with the major leading parties, even managing to surpass the FNM candidate. But LaRota says that, though he knew the race would be a close one, the numbers were never in question, and he asserted that the Pinewood constituency can be considered a PLP stronghold. Meanwhile, former NBA star Rick Fox congratulated Prime Minister Philip Davis and the PLP on its historic victory in the 2026 general election. Fox ran under the FNM in the Garden Hills constituency he lost to the PLP's Mario Boleg. Fox says he intends to continue helping residents in the area. Killarney MP-elect Michaela Barnett-Ellis says that she intends to be an advocate for women's issues. She was one of 9 women, the most ever, elected to Parliament during Tuesday's general election. Investigations continue into a plane crash in which 10 people had to be rescued after an aircraft en route to Grand Bahama from Marsh Harbor crashed off the coast of Fort Pierce, Florida. Authorities say that 3 people were injured. No identities were provided, but Director of Aviation Kenneth Romer posted to social media that all individuals were Bahamians. The Aircraft Accident Investigation Authority confirmed that it received reports shortly before noon about an overdue aircraft. While en route to Grand Bahama International Airport, the pilot declared an emergency with air traffic control, and there was a subsequent loss of communication. The authority said Freeport and Nassau Air Traffic Control initiated their emergency notification protocols, advising the Defense Force and the Police Force and the U.S. Coast Guard, and BASRA, Bahamas Air Sea Rescue Association. Vice President of the Forecasting Operations at AccuWeather, Dan DePowden, said the corporation was monitoring conditions in the area of the plane crash, noting that there were clusters of thunderstorms developing off the east coast of Florida. That crash occurred over water with limited surface weather. Investigators will likely use heavily use satellite and radar to analyze the conditions at the time of the crash. A woman has been remanded to prison after prosecutors say she played a role in a shooting. Siobhan Johnson is charged with abetment to attempted murder in relation to the May 3rd shooting of Ronald Amy at West Street in New Providence. Johnson allegedly acted as the getaway driver for the shooters. She was not required to enter a plea to the charge when she appeared before Acting Chief Magistrate Ancella Evans. She was denied bail, and the matter has been adjourned to August 13th for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment that will send the case to the Supreme Court. A hearing to decide whether a murder convict will be freed on bail pending an appeal has been adjourned until July. Andre Ferguson, who is serving a 25-year sentence, is seeking bail on medical grounds. The prosecution was unable to respond to the application before Justices of Appeal Milton Evans, Bernard Turner, and Deborah Frazier because they are still awaiting an affidavit from the prison's doctors concerning the care Ferguson is receiving and his condition. Ferguson's lawyer telling the panel that she wanted to introduce medical evidence. Ferguson was just 17 years old when he allegedly gunned down Terrell Williams on July 6, 2013 in New Providence. According to an eyewitness, Williams was outside a home on Augusta Street when Ferguson allegedly shot him. Ferguson was unanimously convicted on September 13, 2024. His lawyer at the time suggested a sentence of 5 years because Ferguson suffers from a chronic illness, type 2 diabetes, as well as the 11-year delay in bringing the case to trial. In his 2025 sentencing decision, Justice Gregory Hilton said that Ferguson was entitled to a degree of mercy, having regard to the factors like his age at the time of the offense, the unreasonable delay in bringing the case to trial, and his medical condition. Overseas, China's President Xi Jinping warning U.S. President Donald Trump today that the two countries could clash over Taiwan if the issue was not handled properly, an unusually harsh admonition that stood in contrast to the American leader's praise for his counterpart. The exchange at a highly anticipated summit in Beijing today, underscoring just how far apart Trump and Xi remain on thorny issues, including the war in Iran, trade disputes, and Washington's relations with Taiwan, which is self-ruled, but which China claims is part of it. It also suggests that Trump's 3-day visit to China is likely to be longer in pageantry and symbolism than substantive political or economic breakthroughs. The pair met for about 2 hours behind closed doors at the Great Hall of the People after an elaborate welcome ceremony featuring booming cannons, a band, and hundreds of schoolchildren waving flowers and American and Chinese flags. According to a post on X, formerly Twitter, by the Chinese Foreign Ministry, Xi told Trump that the Taiwan question is the most important issue in China-U.S. relations. and that, quote, if it is handled properly, the bilateral relationship will enjoy overall stability. Otherwise, the two countries will have clashes and even conflicts, putting the entire relationship in great jeopardy. That came after a brief public exchange before the meeting began, in which Trump offered platitudes telling Xi, quote, you're a great leader. Sometimes people don't like me saying it, but I say it anyway because it's true. It's an honor to be your friend. The relationship between China and the USA is going to be better than ever before. Xi was far more stark than Trump in his opening remarks, expressing hope that the U.S. and China could avoid conflict and asking whether the two countries can transcend and forge a new model for relations between major powers.
This is Sports Update.
In sports, the Dynamos Football Club and International FC are on a collision course that will be settled in the championship game of the Bahamas Football Association's Men's Senior League on Sunday at the Roscoe A.L. Davies Soccer Fields. The championship game will take place at 7 p.m. That matchup will be preceded by United FC taking on the University of the Bahamas Mingos for third place. Dynamo's proven to be battle-tested en route to earning the championship berth. The team took down last year's defending champions, the Western Warriors, and the league champions, UB Mingos, to clinch a spot in the final game of the season. More on that in today's Guardian Sports section. Bahamian WNBA player Jonquel J.J. Jones and the New York Liberty suffered a narrow 98-96 loss to the Portland Fire on Tuesday in Portland, Oregon. Jones had a phenomenal showing, though, against one of the WNBA's newest teams. The Grand Bahamian Center notched 17 points, grabbed 7 rebounds, and dished out 3 assists. She shot 6 for 11 in field goals, 3 for 6 behind the three-point arc, and went a perfect 2 for 2 at the charity stripe in 34 minutes of action. For Jones, it was her highest scoring output of the season and her third consecutive contest clearing double digits in scoring. For Major League Baseball, Bahamian professional baseball player Jazz Chisholm Jr. back in the starting lineup Wednesday, and he had the only hit for his team in their 4th shutout loss of the season. The New York Yankees fell 7-0 to the Baltimore Orioles. In a rare afternoon game, Chisholm started at second base and batted 5th in the lineup. He had, again, the only hit for the Yankees, finishing 1 for 3 with a double. Shohei Ohtani tossed 4-hit ball over 7 shutout innings, leading the LA Dodgers to a 4-0 win over the San Francisco Giants, ending a 4-game losing streak. From the NBA, James Harden scored 30 points, and the Cleveland Cavaliers rallied past the Detroit Pistons in overtime with a 117-113 win. The Cavs now have a 3-2 lead in their conference series. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. Your first look at weather brought to you by Star General. We've got a stalled frontal boundary just north and west of the Bahamas that continues to influence the weather across the country. Streaming tropical moisture along with a prefrontal trough over the northern islands, that's producing some showers and thunderstorms throughout most of the country today. There remains a moderate risk of rip currents for Atlantic waters, and beachgoers and swimmers are urged to exercise caution. Your forecast for today, the extreme northern islands and the southeast Bahamas looking at a mix of sun and clouds today, becoming mostly fair tonight. The northwest and central islands looking at partly cloudy to cloudy conditions. And that's going to continue through tonight for the northwestern islands, partly cloudy tonight for the central islands. Rain chances vary depending on where you are. For the extreme northern islands, we're looking at a 10 to 30% chance of isolated showers or thunderstorms. Here in the northwest Bahamas, though, look for a 40 to 60% chance of showers with isolated thunderstorms. 20 to 30% chance for the southeast Bahamas today. High temperatures hovering around 86, 87, 88 Fahrenheit for most areas, but the southeast Bahamas looking at highs getting up to as high as 90 degrees. The heat index will be a factor for the central and southeast Bahamas, making it feel like it's closer to 100, about 98 Fahrenheit. Overnight lows tonight getting down to the mid to upper 70s for most areas. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have the extended outlook coming up in just a bit. This weather check brought to you by Star General Insurance, made simple.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
It is time for a break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
Looking to elevate your gadget game or a tech trouble simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Are you a tourism business owner or ready to become one? At the Tourism Development Corporation, we work with tourism entrepreneurs at every stage, turning ideas into thriving businesses and helping existing ones grow. From business development support and funding opportunities to targeted initiatives and strategic partnerships, we're here to help you take that next step. Build your future in tourism with the Tourism Development Corporation. Visit tdcbahamas.com to learn more.
You try to rest, roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers. For window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it, just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
The unsung's pride in the present, hope for the future, and most importantly, become living examples of the best that we can be.
CIBC Caribbean wants to reward the unsung heroes in our communities. Do you know someone who's been doing outstanding work in their community or performed an extraordinary bravery or kindness in the last 12 months? Nominate a hero today. Go to CIBCCaribbean.com to learn more.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the Know-How team at 396-1101.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance, visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us because we've got you covered.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that?
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas, Channel 969, and BTC Flow, Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Join me now, Laverne Gardner. Laverne, good morning.
Good morning. Dwight, can you hear me?
Yes, 3 days in a row. Really appreciate you for this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, but I keep waiting for you to tell me to come for coffee.
You can come. Come right now. Okay. We're going to have a great show today. We have a lot to talk about.
On my way.
Yes, thank you. A lot to talk about, and including, as we promised, part two. We're going to have the president of the Bahamas Christian Council, the new president, Pastor Mario Moxie, with us this morning. We're going to talk with him about the Christian Council, the role of the council, and what he's hoping to accomplish during this term. And later in business, our monthly series with SBDC, we've got an update on their Empower project, and they're going to tell us about their initiative for this year, the Road to 100 Million. So that's all ahead. But right now, let's talk about what else is in the news. And in the news, we had a feeling that the turnout was lower than anticipated, lower than expected, lower than we'd like. But the projection right now is that the turnout was just 58%.
Not surprised, Dwight.
But that's even a little lower than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, but Dwight, I mean, and like I told you, I saw, and I'm not being dramatic. When I drove, I didn't drove to every single, place. But when I drove around, I saw less people than I saw in 2021. Yeah. And when I talked, everybody kept saying the same thing. There were very few long lines. Everybody just kept saying, "Oh, I just went in and out. The process was smoother." Blah, blah,
Mm-hmm. My goodness. Well, so the Tribune's reporting this today. So voter turnout a tragic 58%. Tuesday's unofficial voter turnout of 58%. Horrible collapse in participation if confirmed, according to Parliamentary Registration Department election consultant Jeffrey McPhee, warning that turnout appeared to have fallen even below the 2021 snap election held under COVID-19 conditions. Now, you know that is wild stuff. Wow. Recounts began yesterday in 25 constituencies and were not completed by press time, leaving the official turnout figure unsettled. So we're going to see. We'll know better hopefully today, but that's how it's looking so far. McPhee said 58% is a blow. He's stressing that the figure was not official, but based on the numbers officials were getting to assess on election night. He said, quote, "Our folks, we have gone south with respect to excitement about elections. That is really, really horrible. Based on what we're looking at now, the numbers are saying that we voted even less than during COVID. COVID numbers were better than this. That's tragic because with elections, once they miss the election, they don't feel the urgency to re-engage." Wow. So they're reporting that the apparent slump would be a sharp break from the country's post-independence voting history when turnout routinely exceeded 88% before collapsing in 2021. But Zhivargo Lang on his show yesterday pointed to some signs that things were trending downward even before 2021. So we've got some issues. We've got some issues, and we've got to figure out what's going on. I have some theories. Today's not the day for that, but we know that whether they like to admit it or not, they don't like to hear it. But the two traditional parties, to many people, seem to be awfully similar.
People have lost confidence.
They are too similar to each other, and it's just personalities and faces that make the difference. To most people, that might not be the reality, but to many people, that's how they feel. And when you change a government, the same nonsense happens, the same lack of accountability, the same questions and scandals. It doesn't make a difference.
Right. I believe that people have lost confidence. And it's like you said, they're looking at the country and they're looking at their lives and they are saying that there hasn't, whether I voted for the Progressive Liberal Party or I voted for the Free National Movement, there hasn't been enough significant change. I'm not saying that there hasn't been any change, but there hasn't been sufficient significant change in my life and in the country for me that makes me feel as if, yeah, I need to continue to go out and vote. Instead, we get the comments that don't matter anyway.
Yeah.
That's what people say. I'm not wasting my time because nothing's going to change.
Yeah. And as we've been seeing here, the number of people texting us is not the same person saying that they didn't vote, they've never voted, never will vote. Yeah. That's a lot. And these are not young people. We know that a lot of young voters or potential voters have a lot of apathy about this process, but it's older people too, and they're spreading that around and probably encouraging their children to adopt that type of philosophy. There are lots of people who don't feel it makes any sense.
I saw a post, earlier this morning on social media. I don't know the age of the person, but just saying one and done. They're not doing that again.
Oh, wow.
They're not voting again.
But what's the reason? Why?
I don't know.
Ah, boy. Okay. Again, we need them to look back at the history of this country, look at the history of other countries, people who sat back and allowed other people to make decisions, and what happened to those countries.
Yeah.
And who ended up becoming in charge, who became the leader of the country, and what that caused to happen in the country. And as we've seen, one vote can make a big, big difference.
We need to start having these conversations and talking about these things, and not under the guise of an election coming up, but right now, begin to have these conversations. Listen to what people are saying. Be able to show them why it's so important to go out and vote, but also listen to what they are expressing, why they feel as if it doesn't matter, and really address those issues, because 58%, Dwight, that's not good.
Yeah.
Especially considering that we always had a high voter turnout, right?
Yeah.
And we thought low voter turnout because of COVID. But here we are.
Yeah.
No COVID.
Wow.
And even lower than COVID.
And
if those numbers, stay correct.
Yeah. Again, it's a preliminary estimate, but that's how it's trending. We know we have a problem, and we'll hopefully have more confirmation today. It was a chaotic day yesterday. We're going to get into that in just a bit, but let's get your reaction to what the projected voter turnout was and what we are facing and what we're going to do about it. I want to hear from you about that. Let's take some quick calls and get your text messages on that. You can call us on 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Caller, good morning. You're live on the air.
Strachan, good morning. How you doing, sir?
Good morning.
You all right, sir? You all right?
I'm doing well.
Mr. Strachan, let me ask you a question. I mean, respectfully speaking, do you see the water turnout? I told the whole world, me and Motley, 43%. Jamaica, 37%. Not you, right? But see, people cannot try water down, a victory, no. Mr. Strachan, in democratic democracy, if 10 people vote and you get 6 and I get 4, you win.
So you're not concerned about the turnout?
No, Mr. Strachan, the reason why I'm not concerned, Mr. Strachan, no disrespect to you, I'm Miss Gardner. You have a campaign on the ground?
Sorry?
No, I mean, no disrespect to you. You ever ran door-to-door campaigning?
If I've ever what, sorry?
Ran door-to-door campaigning?
No, why would I do that? No.
Mr. Strachan, see, Mr. Strachan, once you campaign, you realize what people are saying. Mr. Strachan, first of all, Mr. Strachan, the reason why the water is right now, if the water is high in any democracy, that means they want the government going. Once you see water is low, people relax and they saying, the opposition ain't making no sense. Mr. Strachan, no. I told people, the reason why they have for them to get questioned at the polls, make a point that refuse to answer the question about Marvin James stealing drugs. That's the issue.
Wow.
Then you have people, hello, Mr. Strachan.
See,
Mr. Strachan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And listen carefully. Let me show you what
It'd be
happened
really
right
good
now.
if you would lay off the names. We keep getting into problems when you keep calling people's names and saying these things.
I won't call your name, but Mr. Strachan, let me show you what happened right now by observing the ground. Listen, Mr. Strachan. You listen to me?
I am.
I'm a Gardner. Take my advice, right? The reason why the FM law is so bad, Mr. Strachan, you cannot nominate candidates before elections 4 months, they spend $1 in the community, expect people to vote for you. I spend $1, nothing for the children, nothing for the people them. How the way you come in an area like Gardeners with no name call it? Never voted the before. Never voted the before. You spend $1. People vote for you. People ain't stupid, Mr. Strachan. Pardon me?
Okay, so that's how it works.
No,
You've got to buy the votes.
No, Mr. Strachan, stop. Correction. Spend $1 just during community events, not giving the boy money in your pocket. I talk in real life. You never had that for your children. No parties. Nothing. I said, no community events. Hey, Mr. Strachan?
Are you sure that didn't happen?
Mr. Strachan, I campaigned for the past 10 years, being in the national area. 10 years straight. The bottom line, Mr. Strachan, you feel me?
I'm hearing you. Mm-hmm.
And the most important thing is, Philip Brave Davis was addressing issues, Megapenda was running slander, and the politics cost him. Mr. Strachan, you cannot come in the community, form us for election, or don't do nothing. That's the bottom line. People, you want to buy hand out, people want hand up, hand up, don't hand out in your pocket. They want opportunities. And last thing, Mr. Strachan, closing, Mains Red FM lost because a certain candidate was embroiled in a certain scandal, and the people, even certain people in media, they failed to address it. Facts is facts. The PLP ran a campaign based on issues, no slander, just issues. Issues, Mr. Strachan, and Mr. Strachan, the whole world voting less, So I'm used to. Water dog, try to water dog his victory, you make a sense, You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I don't think anyone's doing that. No one's trying to water it down, but very interesting perspectives and insight into where we are in the country. Thank you for that. Well, Laverne, I might end up being one of those people who stop voting because I don't know if it's making any sense. But okay.
I was very honest. I decided to vote very late. In terms of leading up to the election, and I think the question be a day or two before, she just made up in her mind that she was going to vote. So yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. But I don't necessarily know if it's because I won't speak to the questions why she decided, but I don't necessarily know if it's because I'm just relaxed and think that everything is so wonderful. So
wow,
no need for me to vote.
Yeah. All right. Got a lot of interesting text messages coming in. We'll get to those, but let's take these calls really quickly. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning to both of you.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
No, Dwight, you're not the only one. And Laverne, you I'm touching on something that is so real. Making up your mind to go and vote at the last minute clearly means you're torn between not voting at all and voting. And I think a number of Bahamians just refuse to go and support either. But if that were the case, you would think they would want to go and support the third party. So I think, I'm stuck with one party, but I don't want to go and support them because I just don't particularly like them, and I'm not giving my vote to any party. So that might be a reason why. But you might want to also look, when you put your sources in, there are some persons who just reached the age of 18, could get a passport. They're excited about voting because they're doing it for the first time. I've heard reports of President Carmichael Road really sprawling over the fact that they're going to do this for the first time. And that really could give a party an edge if they were the ones providing these individuals with the Constitution and showing when to make that move.
So why are the people who are third, fourth, fifth, sixth generation Bahamians who are turning 18 not showing that enthusiasm? What's that about?
Because it's in our family the conversation that this and them and they are the same. But that other group of persons who are turning, they're not having that conversation. They're excited about when they turn 18.
Okay.
You see? But there's also a group, a category of persons who really don't have to go and vote for any of the devils, who don't care which one of them win. They still are going to do well. And that's a large group of persons who have wealth and persons who just, could do without either party. Are you factoring in that you may have that category growing in your country, which may be a good thing? If you're persons who don't need neither of the party becoming growing in your country, that shows maturity too. Okay. Because you're persons who just don't need either of the party and could still survive in this economic world because they're probably competing globally anyway and not on this Bahamian stage. You follow me?
I hear you. I'm sure there were plenty of people across Europe in the 30s who were thinking like that and sat back and allowed lots of things to happen. So carry on smartly, Bahamians. Carry on very smartly. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Dwight, we can't say carry on.
I mean, obviously, they want to feel something. They need to feel something to get it.
Understand. Sometimes we don't realize the consequences of our action or our inaction.
I get that.
It's down the road.
But you know? that's true. But when there are other people who've been through it, you need to learn from their mistakes and what went wrong. Do not play like everything is just perfect and I don't care anymore. Whatever happens, happens. This is played out many times in other places. Not saying that's what's going to happen here. I'm just saying that attitude is dangerous. Dangerous. A couple more calls before we get to your messages. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Dwight.
Good morning.
Yes, the Progressive Liberal Party, their theme was progress, right? But I would like to say to them in the country that the progress is about conservatism. That's privatization. That's what they progress about. You see? But it was not progressive.
I know this is a big issue for you. You're very concerned about it, but a lot of people don't have an issue with that.
See, and this is why the parties are so similar. So there's no distinction. Even with the COI, there's no distinction. All about the same privatization, right? All issues are the same. No, none about taxation or tax reform. You see, so and then today, we slap all our people accused on the wrist. Donald Trump don't get no slap on the wrist. Politicians that oppose him, they oppose and they call him out with the Epstein file. But we are politicians. You understand me? Who's accused of gun trafficking? You understand me? And human trafficking. That's just the word. You see, but anyway, I would love to hear from C. Allen. You see, because C. Allen. He was a great spokesman for the FNM, but he's just like the PLP. They conservative, and there lies our problem. So that's why the people don't vote, because they don't see any different. They listen to me, Dwight, trust me, everywhere I go, and I've been many places. I've been in many schools, so a lot of people know me. You understand? I mean, I say like to say shout out to the twins from Harpcatcher Bay, Miranda and Miralda. You know what I'm saying? Because they listen to me. You see, people are listening and understand. See, the media has to take responsibility. The mainstream and what you call it, independent media, because they should be the voice of the people. It's them who drive the conversations. You see, and I like to say to our people, too, last thing is the power of the people never ends. It's not a 5-year thing. You understand? We still have the power. You see? But anyway, thank you much.
Okay. Thank you very much. Our callers are celebrities. We love it. We love it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Good morning to the lady from the north.
Good morning.
Good morning, my blessed Bahamas. You know, Dwight, I listened to my boy Dave made his comment. He was partly right. Him and Port Katy is all over the place, helping a lot of those people. First of all, let me congratulate the Prime Minister and the FNM. And, you know, Dwight, a couple of my kids ain't voted, you know. You know what I mean? They say, Daddy, I ain't voting. A couple of young people in the 25, 26, 27, they said, Superstar, I ain't voting. So I couldn't route them. So I say, why? They say, man, everything still remain the same. So what we need to do, Dwight, we need to pivot. Prime Minister Brave Davis, I can give you some advice. I can link up with Stephen Newby, Aaron Green, even Dwight. I knew the lady from the north.
Why even Dwight? Even Dwight?
See,
Okay.
Dwight, I got a lot of eyes on my head. You see, I always watch the budget, you know. You know why I watch the budget? To see where our taxpayers' money going. PSPs and FN for the past 20 years haven't paid $1 on paying out that debt. They said when they bring in the VAT, they start cutting down on the debt. They ain't doing it. They go in and national insurance and borrowing our money, so they ain't paying. That's our money. That's the people's money. That's our retirement age money. So why these people keep taking that money? See, it has to be a consequences for politicians when they're doing bad 20 and 30 years, Dwight. You see, we need to set example with the people from the top. You see, Dwight, and every year, they need to declare on time. If they don't declare, they need to go to jail and feel the pressure. Because I look at my brothers, my sons, and my people, they go into jail. See, Dwight, the Bahamas is a rich country. Rich, beautiful country. The outside people love you rich and beautiful. They don't come to Bahamas because they love us, you know. They come to Bahamas because we have money all over Northern America, and we in the middle of North and South America. We got a lot of natural resources in this country, you know. The Bahamas is one of the only countries in the world who give a citizen that. Dwight, I don't know if they give you anything. Taking case got 46,000 people in every quarter. Any citizen over the age of 18, money to go to their account. Everybody cannot get land in the Bahamas because if they get land, so indirectly, if they give everybody land in the next 5, 10 years, there'll be no more land to give. Give me my money, Dwight. Nobody want my money better than me.
Wow.
I'm trying
Okay.
to take my call, my brother.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Oh, my. This is a tough electorate. I think. Oh, my gosh. Wow. Anyway, I've been beating this drum. My hands are getting tired. But Laverne, I truly believe it. This could make a big difference. I think a decentralized central government and more autonomy for our communities, for our islands, municipal government could make a big difference.
Because
a training ground.
Because, people may see more movement.
They would.
More change.
Right?
It
would be a training ground for politicians as well. And so a lot more people will participate in it and make people see that, yes, I was instrumental in this because I attended those meetings and we all voted and we agreed on this. But we know that plenty of people are afraid of that type of structure here for various reasons, but it would do a lot in reversing what we're seeing.
And
here.
meanwhile, while that's not happening, and yes, you're seeing not just in the Bahamas low voter turnout, but for us, it's more, and maybe alarming is too strong of a word, is because we've always had a high voter turnout. That was one of the things that kind of marked us that, hey, in the Bahamas, we had such a high voter turnout. And when you hear the reason why, it's not making any sense. My life will not change. Things won't be different. It's more of the same. And even when you're presented with a third option, you don't have, for some voters, they didn't have enough confidence in that third option belief in that third option to say, okay, well, at least there's a third option that seems to have some sort of traction, so I'll go and vote. They were just like, I'm not going out, I'm going to stay home.
Yeah. Let's take one more call, and then I want to read these messages, and I do want to get to the recounts yesterday and what came out of that. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning. How you doing, Dwight?
Doing well.
Listen, that wasn't a slip, or not about money on the ground. It just wasn't meant to be said on air. But that is exactly what was happening in the door-to-door. It's only my reality. Could be anecdotal, but the fact that the high number of vouchers is not questionable. We know that's a fact. We need election reform in the country, right?
Desperately.
The voter turnout was intentional. It was targeted. The voters were suppressed. Okay, after you take money, you're now embarrassed to show your face because you took it from the opposition, from the opposing party. So you weren't supposed to show your face up at the vote. So it was intentional. Look at who showed up. The PLP base showed up. COI showed up. Those are people who are highly motivated to vote. F&M, like you say, the PLP and F&M, they're closely aligned. They do the same thing. But the PLP pull out all the stops this time. We definitely need election reform because we're back to the days of selling your land for a bag of flour. That's what it is.
My goodness. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. And they talked very little about campaign finance reform this go around. So are we going to see this in 5 years? Are we going to be talking about that at all? Will that be on the agenda? I don't know. Yeah, I want to squeeze this. Okay, let's get this call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Lemoyne.
Hi.
Yeah, man. The gentleman was saying just now, man, he must be reading my mind. I just going to say the same thing. Like, this is what I've been seeing this election around in my area in Bambudan. Truck with plywood, stalks of plywood, shingle, felt, going around. Yeah, the representatives of campaign general, going around those, giving them out. Then, around this type of time, politicians become so generous. It's the best time around election time. People go into them, because I have family and neighbors and people right around this neighbor. I talk and I be with. They go into them for assistance, money assistance, help with this, little school fee, or with the compressor concord on the fridge and stuff like that. And then that time slip with the money on the ground. Campaign finance reform, because the PFP spent at least $200 million on this election. At least $200 million. Now, let me say this, right, before I go. I don't want to hang up the line. Let me say this, one. My son, right, my 28-year-old son, right there, this is the second time he's voting. I was trying to get him a vote from the last election. I was trying to get him to vote, and then, like, just like y'all say, the voter apathy. He's be the man, daddy, I ain't no politics, I ain't the voting.
Oh, man.
So, Tuesday morning, I get up now. I say I can go vote around a little 10, a little after 10 before the line get too long. I go in the kitchen. I look in the kitchen. I look at them. Come people. I say, boy, you know, be in the road. No watch nothing, daddy. No watch nothing. Everything going. Only two boys outside. They come people. Don't watch nothing. Man, money was wrong. Money is wrong. They just paying people to go vote.
Oh, no.
Man. Go on, man.
Wait, you sure about that?
Yeah, man, I posted it. Dwight.
I'm listening.
I telling you for years, I trying to get this insurance. I trying to get it for years to come up from the lot. Man, look here. The Chinese out there on the side of the podcast, all the drunkards will be out there hanging out there on the street. All their town people. All them being out and vote. What motivates them to go and vote, Dwight? And Dwight, let me say the next thing too. What turning off a lot of people from voting is what happened Tuesday. Because the Bahamas is what he gets talk. We'd be talking, saying we want Freedom of Information Act, we want good governance, we want transparency and everything. This government haven't displayed that in the last election, but they get 33 seats. So a lot of people say, man, what I vote for? I trying to vote for good governance, and then they just voting for party and money and, and block party was around here every week. Because my neighbor is a campaign general for the MP. And block party was around here every Friday, block party. Maybe a campaign finance reform, and at least 2 million to people, at least 200 million to people spent. No less than that. Now, the half of them have some money too. The both parties do it too. Now, the half of them is doing it too. They have some money. But they ain't enough money. It's the PLP. Because we can see some MPs who was running the PLP have some deep pockets. Some deep pockets, and you know that money was spreading around. That's all I got to say.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Wow. Laverne, you don't want to talk for the rest of the show. I think I need to go lie down. I need to lie down for a little bit. And I mean, he's talking about his son, so it's not like, oh, wow. Yeah, let's get this call. Let's call in. Okay, so am I going to feel better after this call? Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Hi, are you there? No? Hello? Okay, let's read some messages. This person says here, the science of politics doesn't say vote for what is right, but what is appealing. Bahamians like free things, so let them bite iron and catch hell. Oh, my. Okay. All right. This person says here, good morning. I believe Lincoln Bain would have won his seat if he didn't have to have so many obstacles to overcome, like no media outlet taking him seriously. This station discredited everything he said and did. I don't think that's accurate. You pretended like he didn't exist. You robbed the Pinewood people of having a fighter in the house for them. You all thought he was crazy and unliked. What? We love Lincoln out here. He's a better leader and fighter for the people than both Brave and Pintard.
So Pinewood didn't go and vote for him?
Keep pressing on, Link, because of Guardian Radio and the media? Okay. All right.
What?
Okay. Well, you all don't listen to the other things we tell you to do. So I don't understand how that... Come on now.
And guess what?
We tell you to stop littering. We tell you to stop driving through red lights. We tell you to stop turning left on red when people are coming... So you don't listen to that, so don't try it. The people in Pinewood did what they wanted to do.
I don't think this news station or other stations had any significant impact on what took place in Pinewood in terms of Lincoln being and voting. I'm sure he was on the ground, as was the other candidates, canvassing, going door to door, spreading his message. And so to say that it's any news outlet fault, that's disingenuous. And he also made use of social media. He had lives every week.
Hundreds of people on them.
Sometimes it felt like every 2 days.
For hours.
Okay? And people would be on that live listening.
Maybe the rest of you need to move there, and then maybe that'll help with his numbers. How about that?
Right.
Okay. What I'm hearing is people were confused because of the introduction of the biometric cards. Please stop. Please stop. They are saying that they did not get the card, so they could not vote. No one in their right mind said anything like that. Those people were very happy. What?
Right, there were a couple
they
of
were ecstatic to tell you that you didn't need it. Oh, you don't need it. Don't worry about it. You can vote with your purple card, vote with your passport, vote with your hairline, anything but the vibe card.
Yeah, but Dwight, what I am saying is there were a couple of people who weren't sure. I mean, and I'm just saying because I had to explain that it was okay. But there were a couple of people who
like
weren't
literally
sure.
two? Literally two.
I don't know. And I don't know if that happened. I'm just saying that there were some people who were not sure.
Now, if you want to say there are people who, in revolt, said, okay, if it's not ready until after the election, then fine, I won't vote. Now, that would make more sense as a protest.
That sounds like you.
Now, I was thinking it. I want you to know, because I said it before in the year, I'm not voting with that stupid purple card again. And I had to do it. Third time in a row with the picture that was taken in the teens. Maybe the aughts. How long ago was that? Oh, man. You know how ridiculous is that? Anyway, okay. But I can pick my card up after the election. I guess that's now, eh? We'll see. If it's not ready, what should I do? It doesn't have the biometrics on it anyway. So what is the point of that card? What is the point? And maybe that's how people feel about all elections. This person says here, that's the same thing I've been saying and hearing. People are tired of the two major parties, and it seems as if we are not ready for an alternative. Just because there is an alternative doesn't mean that this is the right alternative. That could be an option too, right? We've had alternatives before, and they might not have been right. There might be issues with them too. And, This person says here, when you guess, I think one reason why voter turnout may be low is because of possibly all the nonsense talk. You know what? All the dancing, the partying, the real issues not being taken seriously. So some people feel like it's a waste of time. And, one party says we are not like the other party. Things are going to be different. And then they get in and it's the same thing. Yes, that's what we've been saying too. The reason is things really don't get better with either administration. PMH, BPL, immigration, among other things, they just keep getting worse, I think they're trying to say. This person says here, the problem is even more pronounced because the percentage is only representative of those who registered. What does that mean? I am aware of some who did not register to vote at all. That means eligible voter participation is even lower.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, after the euphoria of elections, reality for many Bahamians will set in. Many people are disillusioned here with the system. They are simply not choosing to vote. Nothing is changing here for the better. As it relates to voter turnout in the entire Caribbean, is extremely low. They're saying. I think they're trying to say the people who wanted to vote went to the polls and voted. Well, again, we were always celebrating that we were bucking the trends of the Caribbean. We were higher and that we had better participation.
And so let's not dismiss that. And that's not us trying to take away from the Progressive Liberal Party and their win, being able to convince the Bahamian people to give them a second term. We're not taking away from them. But we need to we should be mature enough to observe and look at data as we have it and analyze it and say, hey, what's happening? Because one of the things that we did celebrate was the fact that we always had a high voter turnout. And we have seen such a marked drop. And we're not, even if we throw away 2021 because of COVID and all of that, there is none of that, those circumstances. And now we're saying maybe 58% voter turnout. I think that every party should be concerned about this.
This texture says here, this is going to sound bad, but if the turnout is low, that means that the average person doesn't think the status quo, or how things are right now, is all that bad. Wow.
I don't think so. I don't think that that's what that means. I think that what has happened is that people, and while we didn't go house to house, we've had enough conversations, Dwight, that people have disconnected.
Yeah, and that's been a while. It's been happening for a while. Yeah. This texture says,
becoming more and more obvious.
All right, so how much influence do people have, the media and former politicians? This texture says here, I was not going to vote until Hubert Ingram started attacking one candidate about preventing him from being prime minister. That upset me, so I reluctantly voted for the PLP, even though I protected my PLP rep in my area.
Well, that makes sense.
Not one bit. Texter, I advise you with all due respect to please go to see a psychiatrist immediately.
That makes no sense.
This text is ridiculous, and I don't know what's going on. Need some therapy.
That makes absolutely no sense to me.
Man.
But hey.
What? Huh? Okay. All right. By the way, in today's NASA Guardian, Ingram says he stands by his comments about Sebastian. Wow.
Sorry? I missed that.
He's standing by his comments about Sebas. That's in today's NASA Guardian. And he's also saying that Ingram says the FNM is still wounded by the Minnis era.
Okay.
This person says the only thing I think could fix this voter turnout is if they start digital voting, because the old and young ain't have no patience no more. I think the pandemic had a role to play with our people's mindset And worldwide, it's turned humans into complainers. Well, we had it before the pandemic, the complaining thing. But it has gotten worse. Yes. Digital voting? Huh. You have to wait to get your biometric card after the election. So I don't know if they'll have to start today. They'll have to start today for 5 years from now, and I don't even know if they'll be ready.
You know what, Dwight? You should go. They told you to come after the election.
After the election, yes.
You should go there today.
You think so? I'm not in the right state of mind, especially after what we've been hearing so far this morning. For that might cause a scene. I might have to call the media to come and watch this. But they say they'll be there until Friday, and then after Friday, I might have to go to PRD.
Well, I guess maybe tomorrow then.
But again, it is just a plastic piece of a card with a picture on it.
It might be biometric. You may be surprised.
Okay. There was more information on those apps and in the paper about me than on that card. Do you think that the timing of the calling of the election could be a factor? No. The Prime Minister called the election all of a sudden. That always happens. Then people really did not have time to prepare. What do they have to do? Everything was a rush. What are you talking about? It was only a short time after you announced the election date. People had to rush to register. No, you didn't. No.
Okay. Yeah. No.
No. It's a permanent register.
The Prime Minister always calls the election without people being prepared, in the sense that we don't know.
And he's been telling you, and Fred Mitchell's been telling you, it's soon. It's any time now. Get ready.
And they were playing the game. It's coming soon.
Yeah.
Ooh, right? But also, people had time to prepare because PRD was open.
From last year.
Exactly.
They were telling you to do it. That is not. I don't know if you're new here. No, Dexter.
No,
Dexter. No. That's not how it works. Maybe you're just visiting. I don't know what's going on, but that's no. This texter says there are people young and old, especially the young, are not on the run of voting because they don't see an individual purpose or gain for it. It is simply a useless exercise in their eyes. Okay. Well, again, that's because of the failure of the older people in their lives, informing them of things that have changed as a result of policies put in place by various governments and how it used to be back in the day, and only because this law changed, now you can do this. And the reason why you're having a problem with what you're doing in your young life is because the law says this, and we need people who will change the law to make it like this so that your life, people have to talk to them like that, right? And they might be reluctant to hear history, but they need to get it. And again, if all of us need to get on TikTok and start putting our stuff in dance form for folks to get it, then we need to do it. I don't know. I don't know what it takes. But they're not understanding that things have been much worse.
You say, let's have these we need to be having these conversations.
Yep.
And I think that what carries more weight with these conversations is when they see people their own age. You know what I mean?
Well,
leading these conversations.
Sure. But they need to know things used to be a whole lot worse, even though they might not seem good right now, and things have changed.
Who are in that age, and those who are aware, because maybe their parents or grandparents or whoever puts this on to them. They have a love for this country. They're not there pushing any particular party, but maybe they are the ones who need to start the conversations, and we need to see how we can support.
All right, we got to go to the news. We'll pick this up on the other side. A whole lot more to get to on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Float Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or Facebook.com/Morning Blend 969. Text us 4224796. And now at 8:19, it's time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. So we've got a stalled frontal boundary just to the north and west of the Bahamas that continues to influence weather across the country. Streaming tropical moisture along with the prefrontal trough over the northern islands will produce showers and thunderstorms throughout most of the day today for most of the country. So this unsettled weather pattern is expected to continue until at least Friday. The high-pressure system is maintaining its position, and that frontal boundary and associated moisture will begin shifting east of the Bahamas on Saturday. Heading into the weekend, drier air is forecast to filter into the area as high pressure rebuilds across the country. By Sunday, a mid to upper level disturbance could develop over the Atlantic just east of the Bahamas. That potentially could lead to more widespread rainfall into early next week. So there is a moderate risk of rip currents for Atlantic waters for today. Beachgoers and swimmers should exercise caution. So we've got a mixed bag in terms of the forecast across the country today. The extreme northern islands and the southeast Bahamas looking at a mix of sun and clouds, becoming mostly fair tonight for the southeastern islands, but partly cloudy tonight for the northernmost islands. In the center, the northwest and central Bahamas looking at partly cloudy to cloudy conditions today, becoming partly cloudy tonight. And that's where most of the rainfall is going to be. The northwest and central Bahamas, a 40 to 60% chance of scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. The northernmost islands looking at a 10 to 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms, and 20 to 30% chance for the southeastern islands. No matter where you are, though, it's going to feel warm and muggy. Highs getting close to 90 for the southeasternmost islands, making it feel like it's close to 100, about 98 Fahrenheit. But most of the country looking at highs around 87, 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. Overnight lows getting down to the mid to upper 70s, between about 23 and 26 Celsius. In your extended outlook for Friday, tomorrow, the northwest and central islands again looking at partly cloudy to cloudy conditions, with cloud coverage decreasing in the afternoon hours, becoming mostly fair at night. Elsewhere, partly sunny to sunny, turning mostly fair at night. Rain chances elevated for the northwest and central islands, but should be decreasing as the evening approaches. And for Saturday, the northern half of the country looking at partly sunny to sunny conditions, partly cloudy at night. A mix of sun and clouds for the central and southeast Bahamas. Partly cloudy for most areas by Sunday, heading into Monday. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. If you're looking to paint, your local Sherwin-Williams store has top-quality paints, expert advice, and everyday discounts to help you save only at Sherwin-Williams. $8:22, time for check of traffic, brought to you by NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers. In your real-time traffic, we've got a number of hot spots for you. We've got Independence Drive looking really bad right now. Traffic backed up in both directions, east and westbound, between the roundabouts at East Street and Blue Hill Road. You might want to try some of the alternate routes, maybe Robinson Road or Soldier Road. But even Soldier's looking busy for you, especially eastbound right now, heading towards East Street and east of that area. Blue Hill Road and East Street also seeing some slow-moving northbound traffic, especially from Carmichael if you're on Blue Hill all the way up to Independence Drive. And north of that area heading into the area near Big Pond, and you're going to see that traffic all the way up to Cordo Avenue. And East Street north and south of the Soldier Road intersection seeing some slow-moving northbound traffic. Over on Mila Butler Highway, as usual, heavy traffic for you from Fire Trail straight through to Tonic Williams Darling Highway roundabout, and north of that area into New Providence Highway all the way up to the six-legged roundabout. Not looking pretty there at all. And heavy traffic on the Tonic Williams Darling Highway side, both directions, seeing some slow-moving traffic at this hour. Gladstone Road, got some pockets of slow-moving northbound traffic for you. And on West Bay Street, we've got near Saunders Beach, the usual slow-moving eastbound traffic with the roundabout with New Providence Highway. And heading into downtown, just east of Arawaki, near Nassau Street. Quite a bit of congestion there from all sides. Eastbound on West Bay, northbound on Nassau Street at this hour. With eastern New Providence, you've got Prince Charles Drive, as usual, heavy westbound traffic, especially once you get west of Beatrice Avenue, heading into Soldier Road, and the Soldier Road intersection into Robinson, all the way up to East-West Highway and Marathon. Both Marathon and Soldier Road seeing slow-moving northbound traffic at this hour. Eastern Road busy for you from just west of Fox Hill to about Johnson Road. Pockets along Shirley Street seeing some slow-moving westbound traffic. That's your real-time, and that's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by NUA Insurance Agents and Brokers, your partner for smart motor insurance and advice that puts you first. Whether you're at home or on the go, getting an instant motor quote is easy. Give them a call or visit your nearest branch or log in anytime at nuainsurance.com.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
You stepped inside with a weight never seen. Yes, you did. Ooh, so girl, if you talk like you walk, come and talk to me. But look here, it would break my heart, break my heart, break my heart.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne. Good morning. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to be talking with the president of the Bahamas Christian Council, Pastor Mario Moxie. He's the newly elected president. We're going to talk about what he plans to do over this term. And later, SBDC, we're talking with them about their Empower project and the Road to 100 Million initiative. That's all ahead. But we continue right now with what's in the news. We were telling you about this yesterday, and if you were part of our live broadcast on election night, this is torture, Laverne, for the folks in Western New Providence, the Coral Harbor area, that their power, a lot of them, if the election was Tuesday, they were saying the power was off from the night before or early in the day before.
Right. And then we got a notification that it wasn't coming back on until 3 yesterday,
3 yesterday. For many people, it ended up being closer to 6 p.m.
What?
And very little in the way of explanation from, and we don't know who it's supposed to be from. Is it BPL? BPL put out the notices, but it seemed like it was a Bahamas Grid thing. Just an unbelievable situation, if you can imagine that. And I must commend them. They were not carrying on, because I think if my power off from Monday and didn't come on until Wednesday night, there was going to be a problem. But anyway, what was that about? And
I don't know, but Dwight, over here now, we're paying even more attention to when the power goes out and everything in New Providence.
As you should, since you'll be coming over to the dark side, literally, and in every figurative way there could be. Welcome. But for the love of God, Bahamas Grid or BPL, somebody explain that, and it's just.
And like we're not explaining anything. The power back on, right? Okay, carry on smartly.
Wow. And it's unfortunate. It didn't get as much media coverage as it should have. I guess the election and all of that overshadowed their plight. But that was a lot of people, a lot of neighborhoods impacted, and a real serious, life-altering situation. But so many... Anyway, but they take these people for granted, because I think a lot of folks in the area have generators, so they think they'll be okay. But that's additional cost and additional burdens, and it just isn't right. It just isn't right at all. All right, so we wanted to get into the tempers and that were flaring, as the papers put it, in with the recount yesterday. Did you watch those videos? People, I mean, the police had to separate folks. There was screaming. And
You mean the videos you sent me?
yes, from I don't know why you put it like that. From the National Guardian that was covering, and other news agencies were covering it as well. The people got very heated about this. But you also saw, I'm sure people saw that the images that were going around of how badly spoiled or messed up the ballots were. People writing whole essays on why they weren't voting for this
crazy.
person and telling people where to go, the candidates, and what they should do with themselves. Seriously, I mean, it's one thing to spoil, but I mean, I don't know what you're trying to accomplish.
What really did you accomplish? Because unless there is a recount, you're sending messages to these candidates of why you're not supporting them and what you think of them and their mama and everything. But
my goodness.
The candidates aren't reading it.
Well, they were certainly reading the recount. But
yeah, but I'm saying only if there is a recount. If
Right.
there was no recount,
right, you're right. Yes. Maybe that was, I mean, there always is a recount. There always is. But
Right.
I don't know that's just
and
crazy.
Let me also say, people who you marking your ex and then writing other things.
Yeah, but even the ones who were complimenting the person they were voting for, like, this is my man. And like, what are you doing? And then people putting circles instead of the X. Like, what?
A spoiled ballot.
And this one right here for me. Like, no.
Well, that means that no, that person is not for you because you just spoiled your
So we
ex people.
we probably need a whole year of school, like dedicate grade 8 or something, for you all have to learn how to do things.
Vote,
Yes,
mark your ex.
and stand over every student and say, "Let me an X. Put an X next to this name." No, that's not an X.
Marking your ex, and I voting for Dwight because he all right. No. Put it on a T-shirt.
We've got a lot of special people. I mean, the number of circles they
Imagine,
found.
Dwight, you
Wow.
you were going in to vote because you mean this one, you mocking because you so
I've been on his right
about
side
your
for
party.
months. Yeah.
Right?
And you put a
talked about
circle.
your party, and then you go, no, you put X and then you write a dissertation, you write a note.
He saved my life, and I will owe everything
He's
to
a
him.
good man.
Yes. Throw that in the
He's a
garbage.
good man, Savannah. And now
Whew.
that vote does not count. It does not count. We have to follow instructions.
I just don't understand. I mean, how many times?
So at least now we have an idea of what happens, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure the people from PRD have seen it all.
So, but yeah, so as Lincoln Bain was saying clearly that it didn't matter because they were going to take this to court, and things may go differently with those ballots in election court, but we didn't have to get here, and I don't know what people are trying to accomplish. I don't know. But anyway, we've got a whole lot of messages about what we've been talking about the low turnout. I want to get through many of these. All kind of reasons are being expressed here. But let's see how quickly we can get through. This is a lot today. This person says here, according to the PLPs, a win is a win. They don't really care about the voter turnout. They only want to win. I mean, I think anybody who wins will say this. So I don't think it's just a PLP thing. It wouldn't have been a different.
Right.
It would not have been a different story had
That's
the FNM.
disappointing. That's disappointing to me if any of them would take that stand. Yeah, that would be disappointing that we don't care. You won, yes, but you should be concerned if you're seeing such a significant decrease in voter turnout.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if anybody mentions this over the next few days from the winning team. I had reason to text it after that last caller made the statement about the low turnout with the adding that the opposition paid people off who decided not to show up. That is absolutely absurd. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. It's all about training and educating these young adults. My children away in university were telling me the same excuse as to why they were not interested in voting. Dwight, I told them the importance of voting, and I made sure they registered and applied for the advanced poll, but they were not able to vote because of exams. I flew them home on the day of election. Whoa. Arriving in the Bahamas at 3 p.m., and we went straight to their polling station and voted. Wow. That's impressive. Okay. I appreciate you. I salute you. That's a great thing to do. Straight to the polling station. Wow. No excuses, right?
And you came home to vote, and that's what you're going to do.
Yeah. I worked for the
Don't
FNM.
get distracted.
This texter says, I worked for the FNM in Central and South Eleuthera. I have not seen anyone receiving money, but some of the diehard supporters did show up to vote. Oh, okay. Okay.
I guess maybe they're speaking because the caller said the FNM was doing it too. So maybe.
Bahamians really ain't serious. Those people in Luther with no power and no water and didn't send that MP home. Free rum and chicken for the win. My. I intend to launch a complaint against Guardian Radio and you and advise Marvin Dames and the FNM to sue. How do you allow that PLP man to come on the radio and say that about him without even cutting him off? Just, okay. Mm-hmm.
Didn't you cut him off?
I did.
And didn't you say
nothing's
this
ever
is
good
our
enough.
issue with you with calling names?
Nothing's ever good enough for anybody. It's
Oh,
just
boy.
always how it is. Everybody else is to blame. But that's fine. Why every time the PLP wins, they have a million excuses. Haitians, low voter turnout, buying votes, etc. But when the other party wins, it's the will of God. So, okay. I mean, it depends on who you're talking to who will say these things.
Right.
What they will say if the FNM, if the Prime Minister says what? Okay, I can't understand it. No, sorry. To all those people saying, ring the bell, are they happy now? Are quite happy, yeah. Okay, the text messages getting weirder. The system is messed up. If you see the rest of the Caribbean jack up, we are trending into zombiness. All of us are... oh, boy. Okay. People don't want to do jury duty for the wickedness in the judicial system, and so that's why they're not registering to vote. Oh my goodness! Like those paid to vote, they have very bad records and eligible for jury duty, and careless and depend on these wicked lawyers. Okay, I don't know what's happening. Wow. Okay, most of these are not intended to be read on the air. It seems.
They for you personally, eh? Okay.
No, just people venting and saying whatever pops into their heads. This person says, Ames is sick and tired of the two parties. Nothing ever changes. Make no mistake, the decline in voting is a direct symptom of a deeper spiritual decline sweeping across our nation and the world. Voting is our collective voice. It is heartbreaking to watch people willingly silence themselves while expecting justice and righteousness to rule. The issue does not lie with political parties. It lies within our own morals and ethics. As a society, we've become irresponsible, casting aside our duty to God, to ourselves, and to our nation. Real change requires us to look directly into the mirror. We waste time placing blame on politicians, immigrants, churches, parents, and institutions, yet we refuse to hold ourselves accountable. To conquer public apathy, we must conquer personal sin, which is nothing less than disobedience to God's will. Sin never drives us toward what is good or right. Our current inaction mirrors the very warning Emperor Haile Selassie delivered to the world in 1963. Throughout history, it has been the inaction of those who could have acted, the indifference of those who should have known better, the silence of the voice of justice when it mattered most, that has made it possible for evil to triumph. Indeed, very well said. Yeah. A couple more before we go to the break. This person says the turnout was low because Bahamians have no confidence in either party, so they didn't care to vote. I have 3 relatives, ages 26 to 31, who didn't care to vote. Yes, the timing of the election was very bad. So close to Mother's Day, people were distracted, just like when Elon Musk announced something on Mother's Day causing the crypto Dodge to collapse. Okay. Mother's Day, Laverne. Mother's Day.
Okay.
The other day, an insurance company refused to accept the new biometric voter's card as a valid government ID because it doesn't have a signature. Oh, my goodness. The card clearly states that the card doesn't require a signature. The cardboard card, driver's licenses, and they do have signatures. Places around here ask for the ID to have a birth date and signature, which is why asking for a passport or voter's card, which is why they're doing that. Personally, I only want to use my passport with expensive visas for traveling and not for ID verification. So we're going to have to do that process all over again, probably. Democracy is a choice without the need for justification. If I have the opportunity to register and vote and I choose not to, then that's the choice. If I choose to register and vote for whichever candidate for whatever reason, then that's the choice.
Okay. So because you make a choice, we don't get to talk about it? Is that what the texter means?
Seems like it. And this person says, enjoying the show. I hope the COI supporters and Mr. Lincoln Bain are listening. Everyone concerning the COI, please pause, reflect, think about this. All the COI candidates did very well, and the COI leader, Mr. Lincoln Bain, coming so close to winning the Pinewood Gardens constituency seat was excellent. Now here's what caused Mr. Bain to lose. Some vital extra victory votes. Remember when Bain briefly but sadly abandoned Pinewood Gardens and ran for the West Grand Bahama seat? In that Obie Wilson death by-election, people hate when MPs or candidates flip-flop between constituencies. That's where Lincoln Bain kind of messed up and lost some vital Pinewood votes just by briefly leaving them for that West Grand Bahama seat. Reflect on that and remember and think about it.
Oh.
Well, okay. Wow. And finally, it is good to have high expectations of our people, but people who are... they're talking about the grades again. These are the same people, and I don't know about that one there, texter. There's a whole lot more we can't get to. We've got to go to a break, but thank you all so much. Stick around. We've got Pastor Mario Moxie with us. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Show me now, show me now. 'Cause when I take it to the floor, ooh, you gotta get down. You know what to do. Hey, Mr. DJ. Oh, play a song of this pretty little lady. Oh, 'cause if she dances, good as she look right now. Oh, I just might.
Don't shop at Sherwin-Williams then. Don't get the best service in the Bahamas then.
The love is really, really strong in Sherwin-Williams. We don't just sell paint. We service you with a smile, good hearts, mind, soul, and body. And we love our customers as much as we love ourselves.
Yes. Real talk.
I'm not just saying this
Real talk.
to impress myself.
We love to go beyond with customer service. So they feel delighted to come in Sherwin-Williams because they know I can either see Dee Dee, or I can see Shelly, or one of our other wonderful staff members. We treat our customers with the respect of our boss because there are many paint companies they can choose to go to. No, baby. If they go to some other paint companies, so I gonna get this little thing at the end of the week.
We want to make sure you get that little ting, Shelley. Come visit Shelley and Dee Dee at Sherwin-Williams Bahamas, and you'll surely find color in every day.
When it comes to hearts at Cleveland Clinic, you can't miss a beat. You seek the best care possible, work with the brightest minds, and leave no stone unturned to get to the heart of the matter. Because understanding is always the first step to overcoming. For every heart in the world, see how we're advancing the future of heart care at Cleveland Clinic today.
No one likes a fender bender.
Oh, man.
From a little scratch to a full mashup, NUA Insurance has got you covered with auto insurance tailored to fit your needs and budget. For affordable rates with free on-site accident assistance, visit us online or in branch and just ask us. NUA Insurance. Ask us because we've got you covered.
Tired Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Wendy's has brand new chicken tenders, and they're everything you've been craving. Crispy, juicy, and seasoned just right. These tenders bring the flavor from the very first bite. Dip 'em, dunk 'em, love 'em. With sauces like sweet chili, scorching hot, ranch, honey barbecue, honey mustard, and Wendy's signature sauce. Grab them as a kid's meal. Enjoy them on their own, or make it a combo that hits the spot every time. For tenders you're gonna know by name, it's gotta be Wendy's.
Southwest Plaza has so many stores, I've been trying to find a sensible way to list them all. There's CBS Bahamas, the Ashai Institute, BENC Snack World, Bamboo Shack Bahamas. They're the Athlete's Foot and BTC, Games and More, John Bull Fine Threads, Alive, Bahari, Dairy Queen, 700 Wines and Spirits, Sandy's, Clarkson, Island Luck, Starbucks, and Lowe's Pharmacy, plus Marco's Pizza and Lorraine. Southwest Plaza, what a wide array of stores. Southwest Plaza, stop by today and explore.
At Star General, you can go gold. Comprehensive car insurance covers loss or damage from accidents, fire, theft, and third-party liability. But the Gold package gives you increased coverage for rental car and windscreen, personal accident, medical benefits, deductible waiver, and 24-hour roadside assistance where available. Our Star General Gold package also gives you up to $2,500 for accidental damage to a rental car anywhere in the Bahamas. Go gold with Star General. Insurance made simple.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, along with Laverne Gardner on this Thursday morning. And as promised earlier in the week, we are very happy to have Pastor Mario Moxie back with us. He is the newly elected president of the Bahamas Christian Council. Good to see you, Pastor Moxie.
It's
Always
good
a pleasure
to be
have you.
seen. Thank you so much for having me. I thoroughly enjoy being back here on Morning Blend.
Good morning.
Good morning, Laverne. How you doing?
Congratulations.
Thank you. How's Freeport?
I am well. Right, continue to uplift us in your prayers.
Certainly.
Oh wow, yeah. All right, so let's talk about it. The Christian Council. Remind folks about how this works and what exactly is the role of the Bahamas Christian Council.
The role of the Bahamas Christian Council is to be the moral consciousness of the nation. And so when you see the council standing on various positions, it's because there is a need to awaken that aspect of life in our country. And so one of the other roles is to advise government on policies as well. And so we play this critical role in the governance of our country that I think is very important. Mm-hmm. We based on the preamble of our Constitution, we are a Christian nation. We've talked about this for generations and generations. The fathers, there's been so many conversations related to what our forefathers intended to create when they determined the Constitution of the country. Mm-hmm. Some say that they wanted to emphatically state that it was a Christian nation, but recognized that they could not do that in a democracy. Mm-hmm. And so they came as close as they possibly can, and hence the reason why our preamble is written the way that it is, mm-hmm. To indicate and to signal to the world that we are different, we're unique. We intend to follow a certain path. And so from the onset, the Bahamas Christian Council was formulated, I believe, to maintain that path that we're on. And so it's very important for the council to raise the standard of moral integrity, spiritual intensity, and physical purity in our nation. And so it's a very vital role in our country.
Who makes up the council? Who's on the council?
The council comprised of churches from various denominations, all across the length and breadth of our country, and that is one. I think it's a secret that most people don't recognize, that these church leaders, we get together on a monthly basis. We're in fellowship. We know one another. We talk to one another. There is not this disunity or that people perceive that exists. You know, we call one another on the phone all the time. So these are active relationships that we are constantly managing. For my executive team, for example, I serve as a lead pastor of Bahamas Harvest Church, which is an independent church. The first vice president is Bishop Woodley Thompson, who is the presiding bishop of the Church of God of Prophecy. The second vice president is the former Bahamas Conference of Methodist Churches president, Reverend Carla Culmer. The third vice president is Father Roderick Bain of the Anglican Church. The fourth vice president is Bishop DeAnza Cunningham of Christ Community Church. And he's also involved in Global United Fellowship as well. Our treasurer is Pastor Alfred Stewart, who is a Baptist. The secretary is Dr. Beverly Strawn. She's Assemblies of God. And then my executive administrator is Dr. Brenda Harris Pratt, who is the president of Women United for Prayer, which is a parachurch organization that also makes up the Christian Council, but it is a woman's. And then we have four directors: Bishop Ronald Campbell, who is the superintendent of the Church of God Highway; Dr. Clifford Smith at Southside; Reverend Diana Francis from First Baptist Church, and the fourth executive member in the council. I am pausing because I'm drawing a blank.
I'm impressed with you, though. You made all those names without looking at a piece of paper, so that's impressive. That's really good. He didn't look at a phone, all out of his head. So that was amazing.
Well,
you know,
whatever you draw a blank on, I hope that they don't hold it against
No.
you because you're doing this out of your head. Kudos to you.
but these are all my friends, and that's the point that I want to make. So I shouldn't be drawing blanks at all. And oh man.
Well, whenever you remember, you'll get it back. Now you're gonna look.
Yeah, because this is the sort of thing like you have a bone, you got to wrestle with it until.
All right.
Until it's done. But go on. We'll come back to that.
All right. So tell us how the term works. So you've been elected.
So I've been elected for 3 years, and that started in April of this year, and so we'll go until 2029. And so it is our term, this particular platform that we're on is going to be a very active administration. There are a number of things that we want to do. The Bahamas Christian Council has people assume that we're reactive to certain things, and so we want to address that. I'm standing on the shoulders of some incredible men who have held this position, and it's obviously my desire to live up to the office and leave it a little better than I found it. But we want to be more proactive in how we carry out things. So one of the things that you'll probably hear a lot about is these very special select committees that we have that will investigate various issues that we think that is extremely important, social issues, such especially as it relates to abuse, child abuse, spousal abuse. These are some of the issues that we want to be able to tackle and then provide some recommendations for families, recommendations for the church, and of course, recommendations for the government. So, that's one way that we're going to continue to make inroads.
Yeah. All right. So that's great. I was going to ask you about that because people say it all the time that you, as you mentioned, you react to things and people say they don't hear the Christian Council talking about one of the issues was child abuse, and which seems to be rampant in the country. So let's talk about the issues that you feel are things that you beyond child abuse that need to be addressed and that we need to hear from the council more frequently on.
And you know, I'll tell you this: because we're setting up these select committees, we're going to need some runway to investigate, to do the work that we want to do in a very thorough manner, so that when we come up with our recommendations, that they're founded. They're not just we're pulling straw out of the air kind of a thing. We have some incredibly gifted and talented individuals that make up the body of Christ, that we're going to lean into their expertise and get the very best we possibly can, so that we can have a conversation about these issues. And child abuse is one of them. Spousal abuse is another one. Most people assume that, you know, the church pushback against marital rape was because we turn a blind eye to abuse, and that is nonsense. You know, as pastors, we're right in the midst of it, more so than any other grouping of individuals, because a lot of these individuals attend our church. And when these things happen, it impacts us. It impacts our lives. It impacts our congregation. So we have to deal with it. But we want to be able to deal with it in a way that honors the family, honors God, honors the values that we have, and not just throw something in the law and think that it's going to work. So another issue that we are concerned about is gambling in this country. We've gone headlong into gambling, and there was a lot of checks and balances that should have happened that are quite frankly not happening. So we definitely want to look at this. We want to investigate that some more. There's some other issues, and I'll give you just one example. Issues that members in the council are looking at, and we're trying to figure out what is going on in the country. Persons, for example, we see the billboards, and there's a lot of missing persons. We don't seem to talk a lot about it, but it is a issue for us. It is a concern for us that we have a number of missing persons, and we never these persons are found. What's going on? It seems like these things are not resolved, and we want to kind of get to the bottom of that. We feel as though this is a pressure point for the nation. It's definitely a pressure point for the families that are going through the suffering of losing someone and so forth. So there are a number of issues that we want to bring to the fore.
Yeah. What do you make of the public's perception of the Christian Council? Often when the council says something, there's a lot of pushback, but there does seem to be the sense that people, whenever something happens, people say, well, the Christian Council is not going to like this. So whether they respect the views of the council, people expect a lot of the council.
Yes.
How do you see it?
There is a noble expectation, I like to describe it as. People have lofty expectations for the Christian Council, and rightfully so. We are the moral conscience of the nation. So anytime something happens, there is an expectation that if anybody says anything, it should be the Christian Council that speaks out against this. And I get it. I understand that. But you also have the other side of the coin. You have persons like myself. I'm kind of an action-oriented person, and you don't want to always get up and just say, this is wrong, what is happening in the country. You want to have some action. You want to be able to say, this is wrong, and here's what we need to do. So there's the other side of that coin as well. But one of the things I've learned over time is, even though I may not have a solution, it's still important for me to speak out.
Right.
There's that expectation. And I think over time, people become respectful. They may not agree with the point of view, but they're respectful of the point of view. Our point of view don't change. It doesn't evolve with time. Unlike so many other issues that we see in society, give it some time and scientists comes up with another theory and another, it evolves into another idea. And so now what was once good is now not so good, that there's something else. For Christianity, our values are based on the Bible, and that doesn't change. God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And there are certain principles and values that we'll continue to stand by. They're not compromising. And so when you're asking Christian leaders to compromise a position or posture because it seems as though it's no longer relevant in society.
Wow.
We're challenged with that because we don't, on the whim, decide that, okay, this is now in style, and so this is our position. And 20 years down the road, well, we're going to change that because that's no longer in style. You know, the Bible remains the same, and those principles and values remain the same, and so we stand by them.
Yeah. We know that there's a film and plays control board, but movies don't make it here. People will quickly say, "Oh, the Christian Council caused that or banned that." Clear that up for us. That's not exactly how it works, is it?
There's a film board that the Christian Council at one point in time was a member of that board. I don't think we are today. So we don't get to view films as we once did in previous times. I'm hoping that we can probably get back on that board again because I think it's vitally important for us to at least filter some of the stuff that's coming in the nation. We want to protect the consciousness of the nation, particularly the young consciousness of the nation. We have a responsibility to ensure that we maintain a certain path, and you know, Paul in his writing, he says not everything that's good is beneficial for you. Just because something is good, it doesn't mean that you should have it. And we need to be mature enough to distinguish that as a nation, with direction. And of course, individuals have their own right to determine what they want and don't want. But we need to have a larger conversation as far as the nation is concerned. What do we see that is right and proper for the nation? And then the question begins with who determines that. And so when we take this path all the way back to our Constitution. We say, well, let's look at the Constitution which we were founded on, and let's allow the Constitution to at least dictate some of the path that we're on and the direction that we're going as a people. Back to the national agreement, which is the Constitution. And the Constitution says that we should have abiding respect and for the rule of law. So we come back to those value principles and those value concepts that are entrenched in our nation.
We talk about it a lot on this show about the music and the movies and the TV shows and what children are exposed to. Should there be more restrictions, especially on local media?
In moderation, I think we need to have more conversation about it, and we need to raise the consciousness of everyone involved, not just necessarily create a kind of society where we're throwing laws out there, but we have to create thinkers. We have to create critical thinkers, people that are going to look at something and say, you know what would it look like if radio stations were to make their own decision and govern themselves? Because they're thinking about the nation.
Right.
You know, this is responsible corporate behavior. This is irresponsible corporate behavior. We want to lean on the side of corporate behavior that is responsible. And as a radio station, we see it as our role and responsibility to ensure that anything that comes out of this house represents where we want to go as a nation.
Yeah. Got a few text messages coming in and calls as well. We'll get to the calls in a bit. This person is asking, as a young minister approaching 40, I wanted to ask how someone like myself can become more involved in meetings and leadership development opportunities within the movement. I previously asked a similar question to a former president, but never received a response. I truly believe in succession planning and in preparing the next generation of leaders to serve effectively. How do you respond to that?
We plan to have a massive membership drive and make it kind of known how to become part of the Bahamas Christian Council. This is the Bahamas Christian Council comprised of all Christian organizations throughout the entire nation. We want more persons to participate, and I can tell you, any president would make overtures to anyone that wants to be a part of the Christian Council. It's just part of the nature of who we are. We have a very large camp. 90 to 95% of the Bahamas identify as Christian. That doesn't necessarily mean they're Christian. We know better than that. But they identify as Christian, and that's statistics based on World Facts and CIA research, and even our local statistical institution peg it as 95%. All the others have it at 90%. And so we know that 90 to 95% of Bahamians identify as Christian. That's a significant number of persons to say, I align with the values and the teachings of Christ. Right. That's very, very significant. Now, again, whether they live that is something entirely different. And we see this dichotomy in our society, especially when you look at the gambling referendum, for example. You know, persons assume that, everybody gambling, so definitely we're going to pass this. And that was not the case. Right. We as a society, we know when we're doing wrong, and but we don't condone it. We want there to be a standard, and I think that is innate in every human being. We want to know that a standard exists. I may not live up to that standard, but I need to have a standard in view. I need to know what that is.
So you mentioned the names of the board, a lot of people that you called off earlier. But if you are not on that, how do you, as a pastor, what role can you play? Can you attend meetings?
You can attend. You can attend Bahamas Christian Council meetings. One of the things that we're doing in our administration is we are expanding and providing more roles and responsibilities. We're expanding the governance of the Christian councils so that we can allow more persons in. And we're looking for persons, young persons. He says he's under 40. By all means, reach out to me. I will help you get plugged in and get involved. Anyone, any Christian leader that wants to get involved, we can help you get involved. That's not going to be an issue.
And is there a role for members of the public who might not be clergy? How does that work?
If they're not clergy, like I said, we have these select committees that are happening.
So members can be a part of those.
Of course, if they are part of an organization that's part of the council, then they can be part of these committees. And we have members in our church, for example, who have the expertise. So these are the individuals that we plan on drawing from.
Excellent. Callers, before we get to you, this question. So this person says they're asking this based on your comments about gambling. Do you feel casinos here should not be in operation, should be shut down to all tourists and even for those employees that they have? What are your views on gambling like that?
This is a question that leads to, again, hypocrisy, right? That we all recognize in our country that we establish for tourists, but not for Bahamians. And so you get into the argument of rights. We have a right to enjoy all the amenities this country has to offer. Well, there's a reason why the government at that time determined that gambling would be off limits for Bahamians. And of course, many people see it as a violation of their right. And that's kind of, I think, where the question is going. So you might as well deal with it head on. Those days, there was a hobby horse racing and all sorts of other things. Families were being disenfranchised because of it. And the wisdom of the day was, let's open casinos, let's allow them to happen, but we'll keep it restricted only for tourists and not for Bahamians. That is a posture I am 100% behind. I have no issues, no qualms with that at all. Of course, you know that I stood against the gambling referendum, as the majority of Bahamian people, and yet our wishes were not respected. We still went ahead and legalized number houses in this country, and then we didn't monitor them properly. So we're right back in the same predicament all over again, where there were certain things that they were supposed to do to ensure, to prevent addictions and all sorts of other things. And those things are not really happening the way that it should.
All right. We are talking with Pastor Mario Moxie. He's the president of the Bahamas Christian Council. We've got a few calls coming in. Let's take these calls quickly. Good morning, caller. Are you still there?
Hey, morning, Dwight. Your guest. How you doing?
Doing well.
Good morning. Hey, your guest, right? I have 2 or 3 questions for you, right? One, would you perceive the fact that people think that the Christian Council basically cherry pick on topics what they attack, right? The second thing, right? You don't think that's a little hypocritical, right? That they monitor the movies that come into the movies, right? But they don't really monitor. You all don't really monitor the radio stations or what they play on parental guidance and all that, and TV stations. So how come the Christian Council monitor movies that come into the Bahamas, right, that displays at the movies, but yet don't monitor the TV stations. I think that's still hypocritical, right? And two, right? Three. The final thing before I go. Now, I'm bashing the church about this because I love a bingo game, right? Oh, yeah, I love bingo. But how come in bingo and gambling the same thing?
Okay. So, sorry, I missed the first one again.
The first one was, would you think, or how do you feel about the fact that most people in the Bahamas, right, think that y'all basically cherry pick topics and that y'all attack?
So let me answer that. It may appear as though we're cherry picking, but we need to understand that not all topics have equal weight. And we know that from a scriptural perspective. Jesus told the Pharisees that you made someone twice the sinner, or twofold the child of hell. So we know that all sin equals death, but not all sin is equal, and most persons miss that. There's some sins that are more weightier than others. That's scripture. The other aspect of that is if a man has cancer in his body and he gets a gunshot wound and he's rushed to the hospital, what do you think they're going to treat, the cancer or the gunshot wound? So obviously there's some things that are more pressing than others, and society sometimes look at things and they dismiss it because they don't see the red flags, they don't connect the dots. Whereas others may see the red flags and connect the dots. And so it is important to kind of stop some things at a very early stage.
And plus some of those other matters are addressed in church, not necessarily by the council, right?
Yeah, and that's, I think that's something that most persons neglect to see. The work that the church does every single day on a week-to-week basis. If you were to remove the church from society, most of our youth programming would disappear. You know, we don't get the accolades for the youth meetings that we have on Friday nights or sometimes or even on Sundays. We don't ever get the accolades for that. But what people do see is the sporting programs and and all these other things. And kudos to those things. I think those are wonderful. My only point is the church is actively involved in society, doing some amazing things, counseling marriages and families, and going above and beyond anything that most persons can appreciate. I love God's church. I love the work that pastors do. I love the work that the church do in this country. And there are a lot of unsung heroes in the church.
Absolutely.
I know not necessarily pastors.
Yeah. The other two questions, we already addressed the second one about the movies. Again, it's the Film and Plays Control Board, and the council's not necessarily on it at the moment. Right. And that is for public viewing. So, right, even if a movie is not approved to be seen in public here, it very rarely, I can't even recall the last time a movie was banned that you couldn't watch in the privacy of your home. Right. So television is a much more private experience, and I think I hope you understand the difference there, caller. Don't mean to put words in your mouth, Pastor Fox.
I think the portion at the beginning where we talked that we're not involved in the film board, I think he may have missed that.
He missed that, clearly. And then the final part of his question about bingo, raffles, lots of churches have these. Is that not gambling, and is that not hypocritical?
Again, one of the beauties about the Bahamas Christian Council is we're comprised of a number of denominations, and everyone has their own right to approach matters in their own way. We have unity, and unity is not the same as conformity. We don't all say the same thing. We don't all do all the same thing. Mm-hmm. We approach worship different. We approach certain things differently. So we don't all get together and determine that this is what we're all going to do. So I think it's important to appreciate the variety that exists in this country when it comes to churches.
Yeah.
And hence the reason why you have so many different, and I use this not loosely, you have so many different flavors. on a Sunday morning, and you can go to the flavor of your choice.
I take it you're saying not all of the churches will have raffles and bingos.
No, not all of them do.
Yeah. All right, look, well, one more call. We're running out of time. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Strachan. Good morning to your guest and Ms. Gardner. She's still there, too.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, very quickly, Dwight. I mean, before I get to my thing, when you were asking the pastor about why the Christian Council exists, I think that because he said why it was formulated. Just to get things straight, Pastor, is the Christian Council a brainchild of the government that was set up so that the government could present to your legislation so that you all can review, so the government can get a feel of what it is that you all think about first of all before I ask? I really want to get yes or no. Sir?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so you see, I just wanted that to be clear because see, if the government is the reason why you exist and the objectives are not your own, you know what I mean? The reason why you exist is because the government wants you to exist, so you exist for a purpose. I see because Dwight was talking about earlier how inaction and different stuff like that, right? And I know we know the saying, evil continues when the people do nothing, right? Now, when I read the Bible, right, I see the men of God getting in trouble. The only reason why they get in trouble in the Bible is because they be speaking against the powers that be. That's the only reason why they get in trouble, because they be saying things that offend the powers that be. Now, we live in a society, Pastor Moxie, right, where we see all type of corruption in government. We know everything rises and falls on leadership, right? And see, because for the life of me, I can't understand, because I mean, as a regular citizen, I'm frustrated. You know what I mean? I can't understand to see the corruption. I'm not a man of God, right? I'm not a professed man of God who have a church. So you and everybody else who claim to be what you are supposed to hate the very sight of evil. You're supposed to shun it. You understand? And I can't understand for the life of me how it is that you guys sit back, right, and never ever challenge anything the government does, because these are bad decisions. Because guess what, Pastor Moxie? No matter what go on inside the church walls, right, is the decisions that those men and women make in the parliament that decide how this country will go. Not the prayers that you make inside your church, not the sermons that you preach from your pulpit. You understand? So I need men like you become more involved and show that you truly dislike, right, evil, and you truly understand how things run and why things run and what's the purpose of the man of God. But I just want the people to understand that the reason why Christian Council refuses to speak against them and create them. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.
Right. I'm not sure that's accurate, though. There's been many times where the Christian Council has opposed government policy and spoken out on things the government plans and intends to do.
And the government... Sorry, go ahead, Levin.
I'd say some general sweeping statements. However, there is, to a certain extent, I don't know if we can necessarily dismiss it just out of turn, that there may be that is the view of that somehow the Christian Council is in bed with the government, if I can use that term, and so
how do you respond to it, Pastor Moxie?
Reluctant to speak out.
And that is not the case, because we've had Christian councils speak out against the government on a number of issues and oppose the government on a number of issues. And we've also seen the government reconsider positions because we've brought a case to them and the case made sense. So it's important for us to understand that, we're going to continue to be advocates for the church. That's not going to change. Our role is to confront evil wherever we see it. That's not going to change. And we do speak it, but we also understand that we live in a democracy, and there's some battles that we may not win, but the intent is to win the war, at the end of the day. So most persons don't know what happens in the conversations we have behind closed doors, and how those things are negotiated, and what the result of those things may be. Mm-hmm. But I do want to caution the caller that I assure you, I've been very close and had a front row seat to the Christian Council for some time. And I can tell you, time and time and time again, leaders have spoken out publicly and privately to political leaders. And as I said, we've seen where leaders have had a change of heart and determined not to do certain things. And then we've seen where leaders just outrightly decide that they're going to do whatever they want to do, and totally disregard the council of the Bahamas Christian Council. Yeah. So we've seen it in both ways. And also God judge men of God, not only I should say men of God are not only judged when they speak out against political leaders, in the case of John the Baptist, but also when they disobey God as well. That's a very important aspect. Our boss is our Heavenly Father, so we have to make sure we stay aligned with His agenda for our lives and not the agenda of the public. Those obviously don't always mesh, so we have to be very careful.
Yeah. We are running out of time. We know that we are going to see you often here, Pastor Boxey, but let people know what you hope to, by the end of this year, and even, not even considering the end of the term, but what you hope to accomplish in these first few months here.
One of the things that we want to accomplish is we want to be bridge builders. So by the end of this year, we want to make some inroads in making sure that we build unity. And that's why I appreciate the caller, the young minister under 40 that called earlier. We want to be able to bridge the gap between the older council members, the younger council members, bridge gaps between denominations. As I said, as denominational leaders, we fellowship all the time. But that sometimes is not filtered down into our denominations and into our congregations. So we're looking for ways to bridge those gaps. We have Christian councils throughout the length, breadth of this nation in every family island. And so we want to be able to bridge the gap between islands as well, and then bridge the gap between the church and the government, the church and civic society. So we want to be bridge builders, and we want to make some inroads in that very, very early.
There's a texter asking about other non-Christian groups, religious groups. What about them, and what role does the council play with them? Do you reach out to those groups as well?
The Bahamas Christian Council, as the name implies, is for Christian organizations. Jesus Christ is center to everything that we do. So it's important that we recognize.
Okay. All right. And again, how can people get more information if they want to reach out, if they want to join?
You can reach out to me. I'm accessible. I love talking to people about it. So if you know me, see me, I can tell you go on social media. And I'm not on social media like that, but if you go on social media, I'm sure you can find an inroad to me somewhere. And I would love to talk to you about the Bahamas Christian Council.
Oh, yeah. Congratulations again, and good luck to you in this term. And we'll talk soon, I'm sure. Pastor Mario Moxie, the president of the Bahamas Christian Council. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dwight, for having me. Thank you so much, Laverne. Dwight, appreciate you so much. We have a really great history, and I love you because of it. Thank you.
Same here. All right, we're going to take a break. We've got SBDC coming up in the next few minutes here. This is Morning Blend, heading into business in just a bit.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Thursday, May 14th, 2026. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner, and it is time for a monthly series with SBDC Bahamas, Small Business Development Center. We are very pleased to have back with us Director of External Relations, Richard Ritchie. Good morning. Great to have you again.
Good morning. It's great to be back.
All right, so we are going to get an update on what you talked about last time, the Empower Project, and more on the Road to 100 Million initiative. That's very exciting stuff. All right, so remind folks what the Empower Project is all about.
Yeah, so the Empower Project was designed to assist small businesses in 8 inner-city constituencies here on New Providence. And I know your co-host is listening, and so again, in the next couple of weeks, we'll be talking about Family Island specifically. So I just want to put that out there before she asks the question.
Okay, Laverne, Grand Bahama, you're going to be okay.
Just got to put it out there again. So last time we spoke, Dwight, we would have talked about how we were in the process of completing the training, and we were in the process of completing the adjudications for the grant applications that we received from these inner city businesses. And we're happy to say that over $378,000 has been approved and will be disbursed in the coming weeks to those 80 businesses in the inner city. And so these are persons who live in the inner city, persons who have businesses in the inner city. And so again, all of this in the end, the final picture looks like development in the inner city. Mm-hmm. It looks like restoration in the inner city. It looks like vibrancy and economic activity in the inner city. Nice. And so we're so excited about the impact that we have had on those 80 entrepreneurs across those inner cities. And if I might add, we had our top 2 inner city constituencies, Nassau Village and Fox Hill, coming out on top with the most approved applications.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about those companies, those businesses. What are they involved in, and how is this going to help them?
Yeah, so it's so interesting to see how the inner city continues to evolve. Mm-hmm. We had businesses in the beauty sector, and so the beauty sector is continuing to be competitive. A lot of persons think that the beauty sector in the Bahamas is saturated, right? We always hear persons talk about market saturation. Mm-hmm. And what I always encourage small business owners to think about is the fact that you will have your client base. And competition is always healthy, right? Because you have persons who may fall down on quality of service, even though they've been in the market for a while. Persons may be looking for, new companies and new services. You may have companies who've been in
too many people in there, so there's right?
Yeah,
the wait time is too long. The wait time is too long. You need some competition.
The wait time might be too long. The methods may not be innovative, may not be what's new and emerging, and so competition is always good. So don't look at market saturation and the people who have been in it for 30 or 40 years. If that's your passion, if that's what you want to do, if that's what you're good at, jump into it. So we had a lot of businesses in the inner city doing hair braiding, doing makeup and lashes, and selling hair for women. So a lot of that in the beauty industry. We also had a couple who were in the entertainment sector, so that was good to see musicians and artists and photographers and videographers, getting that essential equipment. Over the past couple of weeks, those videographers would have been making quite a bit of money coming out of election season. And so it's good to see that, persons are...
Anybody doing signs in this? Because the sign people cleaned up.
Yeah. Well, we did have 1 or 2 printing companies involved. Landscaping is another hot one. A lot of persons trying to get into landscaping. And then, of course, food and beverage. So those were our top industries across these 80 businesses in the inner city.
Yeah. So, again, how is this going to help them? Like, how will this, from what you learned about those businesses, what difference will it make?
So the main difference that this grant funding will make is twofold. One, it will help some businesses with, getting some ease and some cushion in terms of their operating expenses. So usually these small businesses are, very cash-based. They are turning over cash, as soon as they make $1, it goes right back into getting inventory or services. And so the grant funding in the first instance will provide some sort of cushion. So rather than them having to go back into profits or earned revenue and, procure items and services, this grant funding will assist them by purchasing some of that inventory, purchasing equipment, doing repairs to existing equipment, and so that will provide them some sort of cushion in terms of their operating expenses. The second thing it will do is, as I mentioned, provide that necessary inventory, that necessary equipment, especially for startups, right? So that they who may not have had access to that initial capital, at least they are able to get that essential equipment. So we have, especially in for example, persons trying to get lawnmowers and weed whackers and these equipment to get them started, and the ones existing are trying to upgrade or replace their equipment. And so we also have, for example, in the food and beverage industry, persons who are able to get equipment, stoves, refrigerators, maybe a mobile cart if they want to go mobile. And so that is what this grant funding will help them to achieve, that essential inventory equipment, and of course provide some cushion in their operating expenses.
Excellent. So what comes next for these folks? What do they do now?
So the next step, after the funding has been released and they've gotten all of this support, the next step is further support through our post-funding consultants. And so every person who receives funding from SPDC Bahamas has a post-funding consultant who will help them to navigate the challenges of entrepreneurship and the challenges of business. Our objective is always for businesses to be sustainable, for businesses to have longevity, for businesses to be around for the long term. These are not short-term projects, a school project or an experiment. We want businesses to be around for years to come. We want them to scale up so that they can hire more persons, right? So we're talking about the impact in the labor market. We also want them to, continue to be self-sufficient, and we want them to provide innovative solutions to the challenges in their communities. And so our post-funding consultants assist them with managing cash flow, for example, managing finances, ensuring that they don't have that commingling of funds, because a lot of persons are only operating one bank account. You really should have a business account. You should really be separating your finances. You should really, be taking good account of what's coming in and what's going out. Of course, our training sessions would have provided that theoretical information, but we also, after funding, have the post-funding consultants who help these small business owners to navigate these challenges. These are persons who might be startups, first-time business owners, existing business owners who may not have had good practices. And so what we're doing is, providing assistance to persons who may not, again, have went to Harvard Business School, and, they just need those practical skills to get their business going.
Yeah. So I got to ask you this. We're seeing a lot of it is as a result of the war in the Middle East, but costs are rising. Gas prices dangerously close to $7 here in New Providence, higher on the Family Islands. Are businesses, especially the small ones, noticing that and feeling the pain there? And what should they be doing at a time like this?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question, Dax. I mean, so the economic fallout of the war in Iran, the rising prices in fuel, the rising cost in shipping, it's definitely being felt among the small business community. Mm-hmm. What I will say is that small businesses have remained resilient and steadfast in their operations. They have tried to weather the storm by adopting some, very innovative practices. A lot of them are actually in the process of going digital in some instances to try and streamline services. A lot of them are adopting practices to kind of account for this additional cost, right? And so what we are trying to do is see how best we can help by providing that post-funding consultancy to these small businesses to see exactly what they're doing in their operations. How can you further streamline your business operations to account for this increase in prices? A lot of persons are looking at procuring more wholesale items as opposed to the continuous retail so that they can get better prices. A lot of persons are, looking at the Chinese market for supplies to see if they can get, better pricing. So they're looking around to see where the better prices are. They're looking to see how they can buy in bulk and buy large inventory to account for this increase in prices. And small businesses are still trying to maintain their competitiveness by not outpricing pricing or going above the market price. And so it is a challenge and struggle for small business. But this is where SBDC Bahamas also comes in the larger scope of things in terms of advocacy, in terms of advocating for better policies. So we do see where there are some concessions for small businesses in terms of customs duties and VAT and the like, and business license fees. And so we're grateful for those kinds of concessions that small businesses can benefit from. We need to begin looking to see how we can even further assist small businesses in terms of concessions and concessions on duty and taxes, just so that they can get to that point and that stage where they're stabilized and they're really thriving. Yeah,
I have to say that again. Budget season is here. Is here. Wow. All right. So again, these are grants.
Yes. So this particular program was grant funding.
Right. So not loans.
Not loans. But I do want to make a distinction. And so I've seen some talk in some of the comments and some talk on social media talking about SPDC's funding, right? And we're talking about the road to 100 million. We're actually past 100 million.
Okay, excellent.
So we're going to be doing a reflective on how we got to over 100 million in funding. I'm also pleased to say that it was the InPower project, those grants to inner city communities, that took us to and beyond the 100 million in funding.
Stuff. Yeah.
But one of the things I want to clarify about our funding is that the SPDC has grant funding, but it also has a guaranteed loan program, which is actually our flagship program. And it provides that loan funding through our financial institutions or our partner financial institutions. However, the distinction is, and we will soon be producing some very concrete publications and data on this so that the public can really understand. Since the establishment of the SPDC, you will be able to see a significant increase in the amount of approvals to small businesses, to startups, to existing businesses through our guaranteed loan program. So we do provide grant funding, but we also provide the expertise and assistance in getting small businesses loan funding through the financial institutions that we are partnered with. How do we do that? We have a pre-funding consultancy phase where we sit down with the entrepreneur. We help them to craft and design expert business plans. We take them through all of the financials. We find out what all insurance coverages they might need, what are the necessary expenses. We help them with those financial projections, and we get them ready for funding. That is a process.
Yeah.
It is a process because some entrepreneurs usually do not meet the requirements of the financial institution. They go to the financial institution, they don't have everything, they don't have the expertise or skill set to get everything, and then they get knocked down. They're not approved. That has also stifled business growth inside of the Bahamas. That has stifled the number of businesses that can start up in the Bahamas. And so what the SPDC has done is provided that avenue for businesses to go before the very, very stringent process of the banks and get approved. What that takes, most of all, beyond expertise, beyond knowledge, beyond going through the process, Dwight, that takes resilience. Business ownership and entrepreneurship seems fanciful and pretty. You see the owners, you think they're making millions and thousands of dollars. You see them driving nice cars, they dress nice and these kind of things. And so people often look at entrepreneurship as an avenue to a lifestyle. Entrepreneurship is not an avenue to a lifestyle, right? Entrepreneurship is serious business.
A lot of work.
It is serious management. It's a lot of work. It's also ensuring that you're solving a problem in the community. It's being responsive to the needs of the community and your consumer base. So it's more than just saying, I'm wearing a Rolex, I'm wearing Gucci shoes, and I'm looking nice driving a Mercedes, right? It's also ensuring that you have that resilience to go through the struggles. You have these business persons who were on top of the world and then they're back up. These are some of the challenges. I mean, I can give some more examples, right? But I got to make sure that we're not talking about any legal dispute. But
Right.
I think it's Bahama, for example, right? You had a guy, dream, passion, invested billions, I believe, millions into the project, and boom, a long legal battle, almost spanning 2 decades, right? And so the resiliency of entrepreneurship is most important in this process. So yes, grants, funding, it's there. but also our guaranteed loan program is also there.
All right, so we'll talk more about the road to 100 million or past 100 million in a bit. But so is this coming around again, the Empower Project? When can someone else take advantage of this?
Yeah, so, I think we would have talked about this when I was here last. We are always being responsive to what needs are there. So, for example, right now we're developing a concept and we're developing some knowledge around the blue economy and some of the needs in the blue economy. So we're doing some research right now and with some of our partners to identify what are some of the gaps in the value chain, what are some opportunities for exploitation in the blue economy. And so, we're always listening and being responsive. And so that's the trajectory we're on right now in terms of blue economy funding and programming. And so the Empower Project, it's something that we can see again. I can't say exactly when, but it's in our database of programs, right? When I say our database of programs, we've run numerous programs over a period of time. Specific to different demographics like women and men, specific to different economies or sectors like fly fishing, like culture and the arts. And so what we're doing now is expanding to new sectors, but also the development process that we go through for each of these programs, we still have that knowledge and information. And so it's like dusting a program off the shelf, freshening it up and saying we're going to run this again. So the Empower Project has been designed and developed, which is the hardest part of all of this. It's been implemented. We'll review some of the results, especially after post-funding consultancy for that 1 year period to see what the success was like, what some of their revenues have been looking like, how they've expanded, how they've utilized that funding over a 12-month period. And then we can say, okay, well, these are some of the changes that we need to make to the Empower Project before we launch again. And so we have a very robust process. And that's what I need the public to understand. We're not just, sending out wire transfers on a mobile app. We're taking you through a development process. That's why it's called the Small Business Development Center. And that development process requires training, education. It requires us to be very meticulous. It requires us to also be very accountable for the funding that we give, which is why we have post-funding consultants, which is why we also carry persons through the process of training, and why we collect that data and that information to see how businesses are performing after funding, so that we can be accountable and also be informed in how we move forward.
And even if you miss this one, there's always something else. There's always another program that could provide you with
There's always
the
another
funding.
program. Sometimes, again, it's specific to industry or sector, but there's always another program. We're a small business as well. SPDC is a small nonprofit organization. And so we can only sometimes run a certain number of programs at one time, but we're also trying to ensure that we have the widest possible reach.
Laverne, you were saying something?
And I wanted to go back to what you were saying about the development side of it and how important that is, because you can have a wonderful idea, right? Profitable possibilities are endless, but it does not mean that you have the foundational knowledge of how to run that business. And so without that development side of it, without that education and that support from the SPDC, it could sometimes make the difference between whether or not your business succeeds or it fails, simply because you don't know really how to run the business. The other thing I wanted to mention too is a lot of times, and I know entrepreneurs, you hear a grant and that's what you want to go for. You want to go for the grant because you don't want to really have any debt. I'm just starting out. I'm going to have to pay back this money. So let me go for the grant. But the grant is only so much. And the business that you want to go into, you require more funding. And so it's important to look at not just the grants, but also the guaranteed loan. Because you may need both in order for you to be able to start your business. The grant may only be for $10,000. And the question, okay, what you need is about $25,000. What is the plan for that other? If you got this grant and got the $10,000, how are you going to get this other $15,000 or $20,000? Bootstrap, what is it? And sometimes you find that you don't necessarily have a plan for that, but you're just trying to get this $10,000 grant.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Rashard, is that possible? Can you get a grant and a loan? Can you get it concurrently? Does it need to be a certain amount of time in between, or how does that work?
Yeah, so I mean, I thank Laverne for her comments. And before I answer that question, Dwight, I just want to say, you can't imagine how many great ideas have died and have been stalled and not come to fruition because of that fear. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get a loan. I don't want to be in debt. You know, what I say to that is you have to really, one, you have to be passionate about what it is you want to go into. You have to want to go into it fully. You can't be on the fence or straddling the fence or I'm not sure that I want to do it. You have to have a plan. You have to stick to that plan. Yes, there are times that things do happen, but you try to stick to that plan as much as possible. And so a lot of persons are afraid to get a loan because they hear that word loan. However, what we do through this development stage is we identify, one, how quickly you can get to market, two, what your monthly revenue will look like and how that is going to service the loan as well, so that you're not strapped for cash, but you're also able to service the loan and meet operating expenses. A lot of persons see that first 20, 30, 40,000 profit. And when they see the profit goes down in terms of net profit to $1,000, they're like, well, I only have $1,000. I have $40,000 in the bank. I want to get a car. I want to buy a new property. I want to get a new home. Brain starts to go left. You take that business funding to, pursue some personal goals and dreams. You take the family on vacation because you've made your first $50,000 in business. You're excited, not realizing that sometimes you have to go a year without paying yourself the first dollar. Right? You have to go into business again, not for a lifestyle, but to ensure that that business will be successful. Now, you asked a question about getting the loan and the grant. Yeah, sometimes SBDC will provide a matching grant, right? Subject to available resources, of course. However, we take you through that guaranteed loan process. Sometimes you need additional funding in terms of a grant. Sometimes you may have a grant program that is going on currently. And when we have that grant program going on, you can apply for the GLP while simultaneously going through the grant program. Excellent. And so that is possible. But I want to tell the persons, to really think through the business idea you have. Take advantage of our client advisory services that we provide. Sometimes we have open office hours. Sometimes you can schedule an appointment to speak with our client advisors, and they can help you to really map out and concretize and go through that idea process and solidify that idea into a sustainable and scalable business. And so that's what I would say in terms of loans and in terms of funding, but also resiliency and going through that development process is also important.
Excellent. All right, so you've passed the $100 million mark there. So what comes next? What happens now?
Well, I guess the natural answer to that is the next 100 million. Wow. But yeah, we are so proud that SBDC Bahamas, in its less than 10 years of existence, has reached and surpassed $100 million in funding. And that funding, again, just for clarity to the public, is a mixture of loan funding and grant funding. Right. Why do we include loan funding? Well, we're not a bank and we're not a financial institution. However, the services that we provide is what really catapults businesses to getting approved for that guaranteed loan. So we include that in terms of the access to funding that we provide. And that's what persons have to make. We have to make that distinction. SBDC is not a financial institution. SBDC is not a bank. We don't have a vault full of cash. SBDC provides access and development opportunities to funding through the services that we provide. And I want to make that clarification. And so we've surpassed it. It feels great. We're still in celebratory mode. You see all of the videos and postings coming out on our social media pages. SBDC, we had a wonderful surprise announcement last week, Thursday, at the Andre Rogers Baseball Stadium, where we announced the awardees in the Empower Project, but we also made the announcement to the public that we have surpassed $100 million in funding.
Nice. Wow. All right. So, folks inspired by what they heard today, what should they do now?
Yeah, so I always encourage persons to follow us closely, right? We're SPDC Bahamas across all of our social media platforms, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. We're at spdcbahamas.com. We just wrapped up our Empower project. We're actually in the process of developing 3 programs right now. As soon as they are ready to go, you will see those launched. So I always tell persons, don't wait until you see the application or the flyer to say register. SPDC is an open office place. You can come and visit us at our office on Gladstone Road. You can make an appointment to see one of our client advisors. You can call us. You can email us at helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com or external relations at spdcbahamas.com. You can begin to make your inquiries. What do I need so that when another program is launched that matches my needs, I am ready to go? How can I begin my business license process from now? You have some persons, especially startups, they see the flyer, they see it say, hey, come and apply, and they're ready to apply because it only takes a click, right? You can apply laying in bed on the phone, and so everyone is ready to apply. Then when we say what the requirements are, this is where the complaints begin, this is where it's so tedious, this is where the process is so long. And what we try to get people, especially aspiring business persons, to understand is we are being accountable for the funding that we're going to give you. You have to have some skin in the game. We're only asking you for proper documentation. We're only asking you to ensure that when we disperse funds, it's being used for the right purposes. It's being used for purposes that will support your business. This is not an opportunity to, try and do a one efficiency or your house or buy a Mercedes Benz. This is really about business development, and we want to see your business in operation 24 months down the line, right? 36 months down the line. We want to know that, hey, that is ABC company that we funded. They're doing well. They're doing great. They have expanded. They've gone from just a small micro business. They've scaled. They now have employees and locations and these different things. This is what we want for small businesses.
Yeah.
And so I always tell persons to follow us, but also reach out to us before you see the flyer or the link comes out and says register.
Because those things fill up very quickly,
They
right?
fill up very quickly. We're usually only able to have our applications open for about a 2-week process, for a 2-week period. And within 2 weeks, we have more applications than we can possibly fund based on the resources available and based on what we have been approved for that particular program. And so we always encourage persons to be on the lookout so that they, one, can apply very early on in the process, but also so that they are prepared for when that flyer comes out. So reach out to us. Our office number is 461-SPDC, 461-7232. Or as I said, you can email us at helpdesk@spdcbahamas.com or external relations at spdcbahamas.com. Also on our webpage, there is an emailing list. So whenever we send out opportunities, you're on that list. It comes to your email. You have to check your email though. You can't say, I didn't see anything if you're not checking your email or if it's going to spam or another folder. So I encourage persons to follow us, but also reach out to us before that next program drops. As I said, we're in the development process of some of our programs. We don't just wake up and launch a program. We go through a development process of seeing what the needs are. We go through a process of, putting the different components together, ensuring that it is going to help in that development and training before we reach that funding stage. And so I say, reach out to us, find out what the needs are, begin getting that business license, begin, developing that business plan and executive summary research, put it together. And then when you see that flyer launch, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
You're not trying to scramble and find documents and put things together. You're ready to go. You've met the requirements before needing to meet the requirements.
Absolutely. Stuff. Keep up the great work that you all are doing at SBDC. Richard Ritchie, Director of External Relations, thank you for being here this morning.
Yeah, thank you, Dwight. It's always good to be. I'm looking forward to next month. I enjoy the show. I enjoy being on the show.
We appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, we're going to take a quick break, Laverne, and then we'll be back to wrap things up on this Thursday. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Hey folks, thanks for your patience. We'll be taking off very shortly. Should be wheels up in about 40 minutes. And due to a bumpy ride, snacks and beverage service has been suspended. AC has given us some trouble. Sorry folks. And Wi-Fi is out. And so is the entertainment. Yeah, I'm sorry about the smell, folks. We are aware.
I know.
Just one more quick note. We are going to have to deplane.
Come on!
We're like the plane ride that isn't a nightmare. CG Atlantic agents and brokers. Good like that.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Commercial banks in the Bahamas processed a modestly higher volume of account applications during the first half of 2025, while also reducing appointment-related delays and marginally improving processing times. That's according to the Central Bank of the Bahamas' semi-annual bank account opening survey report released this week. The survey, which forms part of the central bank's ongoing payment system modernization initiative, found that demand for banking services continued to rise between January and June 2025, while approval rates for resident applicants remained high and that the rate of declined applications fell slightly compared to the same period in 2024. According to the reports, during the first half of 2025, commercial banks processed a modestly increased number of account applications compared to the first half of 2024, reflecting sustained demand for banking services. Central Bank also noting that the findings suggest some easing of long-standing bottlenecks that had previously affected access to transactional banking services. Chairman of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation, Don Williams, congratulating the PLP on its general election win and inviting the returning government as well as the new opposition members to speak to the business community in a forum setting on plans to advance businesses in the country. Williams says the PCC-EC would be happy to host such a forum. He explained that a second-term government allows for the continuity of programs the PLP began to improve the ease of doing business in the country. Williams added that the business community is eager to hear what plans the government has to improve their sector. Overseas, shoppers in the U.S. pulling back on spending in April as higher gas prices, fueled by the Iran war, meant less money left over for some non-essentials like clothing and furniture. But economists noting that consumer spending, propped up by generous income tax refunds, is still healthy, but they worry that spending will fall off as benefits from the refunds dissipate and shoppers continue to deal with the cumulative impact of rising gas prices at the pump. Retail sales rose 0.5% in April, a slowdown from the revised growth level of 1.6% in March, according to the Commerce Department data released today. March marked the largest one-month increase in retail spending in more than 3 years, largely because gas prices spiked higher rapidly. Excluding gas sales, retail sales in April were up 3%. That's a slowdown from the 0.7% pace, excluding business from gas stations in March. In April, sales at gas stations rose 2.8% in comparison to a 20.9% hike in March due to the spike in gas pricing was uneven. Closer to home in your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Wednesday. Your market movers, APD Limited moving 2,724 shares, closing at $50.50, up 50 cents. Commonwealth Bank moving 3,500, down 21 cents, closing at $4.09. Fidelity Bank moving 779 shares, unchanged at $13.44. Consolidated Water down 9 cents, closing at $5.99. Emera Incorporated down 10 cents, closing at $12.86. The BISX All Share Index closing at 3,189.89, up 0.30. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. Laverne Gardner, thank you so much for being here today and being part of the roundtables we had this week. You know, we've been keeping you busy.
Always a pleasure.
But you get a few days of rest, so enjoy yourself.
Thank you.
I'll talk to you again soon.
Okay.
And I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.